Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Week 15 in the NFL, grinding down here, man. I know you're probably a little bit ground down.
I am at a nub, my friend. I am done.
Just a nub left for him. It's a long season. You are done like the 49ers are done. Who thought the worst NFL Thursday night football game of the season would be this one? But it was it not?
It was quite awful. The weather, everything, just bad. I also would like to leave halfway through the game like Devondre Campbell. Yet I finished the job because I'm a professional, Josh. And you know, at the rate that we've been hitting, maybe I could go pro in this too.
Well, I can't wait to show that the betting record has been very nice. We haven't been here since week 12. I didn't do that well without you. I'll be honest. I was a couple games below 500. You are definitely the lucky charm. And also, I like to bring bets that I know that you're going to like. So I do a little bit of let's find the nasty. Let's find some nasty.
Let's get grimy, baby. Honestly, today, my bet's pretty clean.
That's true.
Almost optimistic, which I've never been accused of being. So I'm glad that you brought a bit of grime to the proceedings. We need it.
Yeah, you're welcome, because we got to stay true to form here. I'm pretty excited to go over some of these. We're going to kick it off with the tutties as we always do, but I'm just going to bring up the stuff that we did recently here. You can tell it's really nice. We're looking at a couple of sweeps there for both the kids. Yeah, for both of us, feeling pretty good about that on the play of props. Fuck, man, sorry. I got to stop for a minute because this all got messed up. Damn it. I'm going to go back to the betting review and bring it up. Because when I switched to this, it wasn't right. Okay, now we're good. All right, 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to bring up a pretty lovely looking report here from week 12, the last time that we had you on the show, and swept the play of props. Didn't do as well with the tutties, in part because Brian Robinson Jr. left that game and just murdered all the tickets that had him crushing the Cowboys that week in week 12, which they did, and he would have, but then he got taken out. So everybody else did well in that game except for him. But all the player props are beautiful. The CMC under was such a lovely call there. And then the two best bets of the day, let's call them what it is. Xavier Worthy rushing yards, Baker Mayfield rushing yards. We got a lot of comments on those coming back, and people appreciative of those as well. So
we love getting nasty, baby.
We're going to look to find a couple more of those. I'm sure I've got the nasty boys, but Deet's going to keep it going here. Let's get into to play we're starting with tutties, right? Let's get
starting with tutties.
Yeah, let's get those because that's what everybody wants to look at here. So we've got outlier.bet. I will let you know is what we're using here for NFL stuff. Shows you a lot of good stuff. If you do want to get a free trial for that, you can use the link in the description of the video and get yourself 7 free days. So test it out if you want it. But where are we kicking things off with, Deets?
We're going back to the well. The odds are in our favor. It has to break. The dam has to break this week. Trey McBride plus 180 touchdown. The man is 6th in the NFL in receptions. 6th. He has no touchdowns.
That he's caught. He fell on one,
fair,
right?
Fair. Yeah. He has not registered a touchdown with the official statistician of the National Football League this year. That changes this week. There's no logic, rhyme, or reason as to why he has 0. So why do I need it to say that this is the week of all weeks? You're giving me almost 2-1 on one of the NFL's finest receivers, a matchup threat in any scheme. You're giving me plus 180 for that dude who catches everything, who is, albeit limited this week in practice, but I expect him to play. You're giving me plus 180 on Trey McBride. Until the number comes down, we're playing it. And we're going to, if we miss the rest of them, we're getting almost 2-1 on Trey McBride. That's why I never feel that bad about the touchdowns, because we always play the plus number, Josh. We always get that value. So, hey, I only go 1 of 3 the last 2 times we talk, but they're hitting at 160 and 140. So the juice, a little bit sweeter on those, makes it go down a little bit better, even though you're not having the tastiest meal. So
100%.
I'm going back to Trey McBride. I got nothing else to say. You're giving me plus 180 on the 6th best receiver in the NFL right now.
You don't need. Look at this target share inside the red zone. 37% for him inside the red zone. There's only a few guys with a higher red zone target share. I would also throw out Drake London. He was a consideration of mine. Drake London's at a 42% red zone target share. That's just off the dome because that impressed me. But look at 7 red zone targets in the last 2 games alone, and he still doesn't have a touchdown, Deets. I tried to take him in week 12 when we were talking about this game versus Seattle. Just 1 red zone target, and the Cards didn't get into the end zone in that game. So this is definitely a solid bounce back. You're going to see him go up against this New England defense that is just bad against the pass. It's bad. It's just bad. So there's not much to care about there. I think the Cardinals are looking for a nice offensive game and won't be holding back in any way, shape, or form. And if they do get a lead in this one, and the Pats will just eventually not be able to keep up with the offense. So
feed the big man. Let it roll. And by the way, even if Arizona game script wise puts themselves in a situation where they're running the ball, there's still third downs, red zone situations, situational football. Okay, you're not pushing it. You're not, pushing it deep. You're not going deep to Harrison or Dortch or anybody like that. But you still got those little 7-8 yard curls. You got that hook route all day, every day. Wide choice with Trey McBride. That's still going to be there. The passing game might not be prolific, and it certainly won't be downfield. I'm betting on a tight end to score a touchdown. I like that, even in a game that Arizona controls. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, I'm not worried about them getting too far of a lead and having some kind of negative or too positive of a game script, I should say. So I'd be okay with that. I've got one here that you tried in week 12 and he got hurt. We just talked about him, and that's Brian Robinson Jr. I don't have a very good reason not to go back to him in this matchup, right? So, I mean, I'm going to pull him up as long as
he's just loaded with reasons this morning. We're just like, I don't know, vibes and gut, baby. That's all you need.
That's what I'm saying. I got no reason not to. If I'm looking at the tutty here for him, it's okay. I got it minus 125. It's bumped 5 cents there to minus 130, and I'm still fine with that, which I know we don't always love to talk about, but this New Orleans defense, man, like, what do you want me to tell you about it? If it's 6th worst limiting touchdowns to this position, it's going to be the 2nd worst rush defense overall. I mean, the EPA for this team is going to continue to just look as it has, bottom 3 that they've been, and in the last 7 weeks, as things have just fallen even further, it's only just gotten worse. The stone rolling down the hill at them is picking up momentum more than anything. Even after one little nice win, obviously for the Gipper, then you get right back to what this team really is. 3rd worst in terms of the EPA, 2nd worst in terms of the success rate. So that's the other thing I like for Brian Robinson Jr. is let's say he's limited to 15-ish carries in this one. He's still going to get the bulk of the goal line work, which we know. All 4 red zone attempts against Tennessee in the last time out for him. And then we're talking about in between the 20s. I'm thinking 5 yards per carry is about right for Brian Robinson Jr. in this one. Yeah. So against a team that's given up 4.9 yards per carry. And in the last 3 weeks, that has been bumped up to 5.2. You don't even need that many plays to get back past them. The adjusted yards before carry, I'll bring up as well, because I love that stat, bottom 3 in that. So that defensive line getting no push against you. And this Commander squad, who I almost said the slur, but I managed to remember that they're the Commanders now, and I don't have to put anything in the tip jar. We're taking B-Rob.
The old slur jar. I love it, man. It's so obvious that he's a critical aspect to this team, right? So now that he's back in the fold, you're feeling good about him. They're not going to go away from him now. It's not like anybody Wally pipped him. I don't love the number at 125, if I'm being honest. It feels like I don't love any number that starts with a negative marker.
Not for a tutty. I get
not
that.
For a tutty, but a lot of logic in that play. A lot of logic in that play.
Not
as logical as my next play, though.
Well, let's get more logical then.
Let's talk about Courtland Sutton of the Denver Broncos, who is on, as the kids would say, a tear. He is ripping it up right now. And I'm looking at this Colts matchup. I'm looking at the defense that plays more zone than any other defense in the NFL, the Indianapolis Colts. They don't trust their corners. They're just dropping back. They're not even blitzing that much. This is what you see is what you get defense from Indy.
Yeah.
That is great news for a rookie quarterback, albeit a 24-year-old rookie quarterback in Bo Nix. And that's great news for Courtland Sutton, who has 41 catches and 543 yards against zone this year. He had 2 touchdowns a couple weeks back against the Raiders. I think that the Broncos are going to be able to move the ball with aplomb. I also think that Indianapolis has a better chance of moving the ball themselves in this game than I think most people, if you looked at some of the advanced numbers, would feel or have the indication of. I think that this is a nice game for Anthony Richardson, at least a decent enough matchup. So I think that this game has a chance to not just go over, but to be a true shootout. And if it's a shootout, you're going to want Courtland Sutton somewhere on your ticket because he's going over on yards and he's going into the end zone in this game. He is the number one of number ones on a team that is throwing the ball well. They're throwing the ball as effectively as anybody in the NFL right now.
Say that again. That's crazy.
They are as effective as anybody in the NFL at throwing the football. It is wild. Yeah. And Courtland Sutton's a big part of that. The matchup couldn't be better for him. No lockdown, zones. He gets to work the angles as a veteran receiver. He's going to know where those soft spots are, particularly in the back of the end zone. Expect him to be working that back line of the end zone, walking past It Takes All of Us and end racism. That's where he's going to do his work. Josh almost dropped the slur. I'm bringing up the end zone slogans. We're off to a roaring start here. Courtland Sutton, plus 125. I'm taking it all day, every day.
Oh, yes.
Twice on Sunday.
Bo Nick stand right here, man. We stand for Bo on this show and in the group chat as well. Just wanted to bring up this beautiful stat for you as well to support you. A separation score here that is going to be in the top 92nd percentile as well for Courtland Sutton against zone. A win rate of 13%. Very few higher than that. I think the highest in the league is about 16%. So we're looking at a good win rate for him. And the other thing too is Riley Moss. I know that's on a player on his team. Right, likely out. Pat Surtain probably going to be busy with Michael Pittman. I think Josh Downs is going to crush in this one from the slot against a team that's weakest against the slot. The Colts will be able to get move the ball a bit for sure.
And Richardson's going to be able to run it in this game. Like that. Denver's defense is, again, a lot of what you see is what you get. If you go to man, Richardson's running. Yeah, they're not even thinking twice about it now. They don't care. They don't think that he's a very good quarterback. They're going to use him until everything is out of the packet. Like
until the wheels fall off, literally.
Yeah. Oh no, he got injured running the ball.
Let's get Joe Flacco in there. No, you're 100% right. It's kind of sad to watch in that regard because I don't know that he's ever going to get to the point of being a pocket quarterback. But
this is the same thing that happened with Josh Allen his rookie year, where it's like, oh, this dude couldn't hit the broadside of a barn from 3 feet away. But he big and fast, so let's just run him. And as the game slowed down for him significantly, once he started running the ball more, and he was a beast the second half of his rookie year, just as a runner, just running dudes over, playing fullback. You then bring in Stephon Diggs, and now suddenly he's a passer, and now he's probably going to win MVP. So
right. That's the pie in the sky ceiling, I would imagine, for AR as well. But more importantly for this one, like he's going to be able to move the ball. The only thing that scares me would be the run game. If you're looking at Jonathan Taylor, I just think this Denver Broncos team, as much as they're talked about as a great defense, they're still somewhat underrated as a run defense. I actually think they've overtaken in terms of what's a better aspect of their defense. That rush defense has been absolutely filthy, but they will be able to move the ball a bit and through the air of the Colts. So let me get to number 2 for me, and I think this is just a situation where we're never gonna see this number again for Isiah Pacheco.
I wanted to go there. You're spot on.
I'm a little bit surprised you didn't.
I know. I talked myself out of it. I never know who's the Isiah and who's the Isaiahs here.
But either way, for Isiah, spelled Isiah, look at we're going against the Browns. This Browns pass defense has gotten a little bit better. I will say that. Either way, I just think Andy Reid is going to be looking to run the ball this game. Plus 120 for Pacheco isn't going to last once he's up a little bit higher. And last week he got up to 58% on the rushing share. So he was out there for about 48% of snaps, but had 58% of the rush share. I talked about this last week on the show as well because I took him for over rush yards. And I don't believe that actually worked out at the number I ended up getting it last week. But I was on the right track that his usage is going to continue to bump upwards. Love you, Kareem Hunt. But anybody that thought Kareem Hunt wasn't just the best, sort of replacement, temporary replacement, you're wrong. Like he came in off the street before that. He ain't that, right? And so Pacheco is going to be back in there doing his thing. If he is at anywhere close to 60% of the rush opportunity, plenty of that is going to go into the end zone. You can see if you just look at his numbers from last year and take this and look at the number of plus 120, this is a very positive expected value bet that you should just be making consistently over time, especially because it won't be there next week. If he gets one this week, it'll be much closer to even money. And if he gets one the week after that, we're probably starting to look back at the minus 110 numbers that we've seen for Isiah Pacheco throughout his career once he's been the starter for this squad. In the 16 games that he started started over the last 2 seasons now because he's been hurt. He's got touchdowns in 11 of those 16. So give him the rush share, give him the touches. I think they're going to be looking to pound it on the ground and save, get him going, basically, especially because their receivers do much better. Like Xavier Worthy be the only guy I might consider in this matchup here, because you're just looking at man stuff, and Kelsey ain't beating anybody off man anymore, and I don't think Nuke is either. So I think they're happy to just run the ball in this situation.
I think that's spot on. They have to, right? There's not a lot of complexity to this offense. They can't get anything going because of their tackle play.
All right,
Pacheco up the middle, behind Creed Humphrey, behind Trey Smith, behind. That's the play. That's it. And getting close to the end zone, do you want to try to get fancy, do all the handouts? Sure, you could. Is it going to work for this team? Probably not. You know what will work? The dude who takes 40 steps every time he catches the ball, running as hard as he can into the back. he's straight up road runnering it. Like, Barney Rubble over here with the car. Like, just running into the back of his offensive line and pushing them 3 yards forward. That's all you need to do. So I'm all in on this one. I talk myself out of it on the basis of I am skittish about the Kansas City offense right now.
Okay.
But if you don't share those deep concerns about the Kansas City offense, it's plus money for a guy who should probably be the most likely to score for Kansas City.
And keep in mind, last thing I'll say to your point, the caution that would be heated here is this feels like a nasty game incoming. I think we're looking at like 2017, that kind of thing. So there's not going to be the most. There's probably 3 to 4 touchdowns available in this game total. That's where we're at. Yeah. So that's the reason you would stay away from it. I'm going to get ahead of things and assume that they're going to pound the rock with him. But yeah, let's get to your third play here.
Okay, they're giving me Tony Pollard at 105. I'm taking it. It has nothing to do with the Titans or Tony Pollard in particular. It has everything to do with the Cincinnati Bengals defense, which allowed almost 4 yards per rush to the Cowboys last week. To the Cowboys, who can't run the football. When they played Pittsburgh, Cincinnati allowed 6.2 yards per rush. I mean, they allowed 130 yards on the ground to the Raiders. Like, this team can't stop a nosebleed. It doesn't know any of the tactics. It's just going to bleed out from a paper cut. And just give me the running back that they're going against. Give me, I mean, I could have gotten fancier with this and say, oh, Calvin Ridley, but then there's Nick Westbrook-Akine, who only catches touchdowns. And then you don't want to bet on that, because then that's going to be the week he doesn't do it. And there was a lot, then you're betting on Will Levis. I got an idea. Just take the running back. And maybe you go Tajay Spears, but I ultimately think if this team gets anywhere near the end zone, they're handing it off to Tony Pollard 3 times in a row. Yeah. Maybe there's a tight end throw in there on second down, but that ain't getting completed.
No, they're not.
Pollard at plus money.
Phased out too. Yeah, no, Chig's been phased out. This is it. Calvin Ridley is good for yardage. I don't trust him to catch the tutties from Will Levis.
I can see him catching one in the corner of the end zone from about 25-30 out in this game, but do I want to put money on it? No,
not even at 2-1, which is what it is. What's interesting is you poo-pooed 2 picks that I've tried in the last 2 weeks since you've been gone. I tried a Calvin Ridley tutty, and I tried Will Levis on the yards last week. Got a little bit hosed by the fact that he got injured at the end of the first half. 100%. I'm be honest. He was at 100 yards already. It's not
I like the logic on both of those. But at a certain point, at a certain point, you have to enjoy what you're watching as well. There is why are we doing this? This,
right.
I understand there's some of you out there that are like, I do this. I'm the man at this. I make so much money. This is entertainment. You want to have a little extra something, make you feel alive on these games. You don't want to be sitting there begging Will Levis or Calvin Ridley to help you out. You want something that's going to be easily attainable on the Red Zone channel, because you don't want to be watching this game.
Right, exactly. And if you are the dude who's betting, like we said, you're right. The Will Levis thing is do I want to sit there and watch that?
Leave that nastiness to us. We have no choice.
Right, but here's the question, because even though I would need to watch as many games as possible for my job, I also know that, am I going to feel bad after if if Will Levis gets 230 yards passing and I didn't bet on it? Right. No. Am I going to hate myself if I have to watch Will Levis throw incompletion after incompletion and I, like the idiot that I am, bet on his over? I'm going to hate myself. Here's the other thing. Sheldon Rankins, questionable. Look at every one of the required, like Logan Wilson's been out. This rush defense down up the middle. I also made the mistake of thinking maybe Rico Dowdle doesn't have a very good game against the Bengals. And man, was that wrong. And there was some stuff that said, I got too cute with it though. I was like, look at when they run to the outside versus when they run to the inside. And it's just not necessary, man. This is just a bad rush defense. You don't need to be taking unders versus them. Tony Pollard, anything plus money to get in. I love it. I'm just going to briefly mention my longer shot. It's not even that long, but it's Ferg again. Everything keeps going up for him in terms of the usage. Like I tried to take him. I took him on the over receiving yards last week. Another probable mistake, even though it was a good spot. It's just like, what are you betting on? Well, it's Carolina now. It's finally the actual worst defense against the middle of the field, period. I didn't even mention tight ends, receiving, rushing. Whatever you want to do in the middle of the field against Carolina, you can do it. Which is, again, people told me I'm an idiot, but I'm like, why are you drafting Jonathan Brooks? Why are you not drafting somebody to help out with that? I'm still I hate it. But anyway, it's also because I'm a huge Chuba fan. But the point here for him is that he was up to about 48% opportunity share in the red zone last week. He's finally getting back into the fold in the mid between the 20s as well. So this would one I'd be considering. Look at the matchup. That's really all I have on that. But the bet that's slightly less long shot that I do like a bit more here. I forgot to show you guys that we're getting Tony Pollard, but it's Tyreek Hill. Another dude who we're still getting plus 140 right now for Tyreek. And I like this matchup against a team that is giving up a lot to the wide receiver in the Houston Texans.
It's another bet that I'm like, yeah, that's something I would normally take. But, I've gone to that well too many times. It's been fruitful. Let's be honest here. Tyreek Hill at plus money is just like, duh.
Well, what sucks is so I don't believe we didn't take him here. We took him versus New England. Didn't get one there. Then you were off for 2 weeks, and then we didn't get to take him again. But now he's back at 140, but he's still got, in 4 of his last 5 games, he's looking at tutties, and the usage was way up for him last week as well. We saw him get one right as well last week. Here, I had a couple of notes. Yeah, over the last 5, like I said, the 4 tutties, the 31% target share as well, and the fact that Jonnu Smith was a nice little gimmick for a few weeks, but he's kind of back to who we thought he was. Outside of a few catches in the end of the fourth quarter in OT last week, he was about catchless up to that point. So yeah, when you're talking about this defense for the Texans, you can see second to last in limiting touchdowns to the wide receiver. So it's really just about them being much worse on the outside than anywhere else. Plus 140, also a number that I love for Tyreek if you can get it.
Yeah, I think that the way that Houston, they're a zone heavy team, the way that they play, the idea that they'd be able to bracket Tyreek leaves a lot to be questioned. So I don't think, I think Stingley's incredible. Don't get me wrong, but this is more of a scheme play than it is a player v player play. And Tyreek is without a doubt the number one option in this offense when it comes to the pass game. They want to feed him. They want to feed him relentlessly. I think this Houston defense is dramatically overrated. I think a lot of people are looking at what happened last year where they had a lot of holes, if I'm being real about it, especially in the run game. That has translated into this year. I just don't think D'Amico Ryans is doing a very good job right now because there are some dudes. You don't have Azeez Al-Shaair. That changes. I mean, we know why, but that fundamentally changes that defense as well. They have players. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Stingley,
I know.
They got dudes. They consistently seem to be in the wrong looks at the wrong time, and a guy like Tyreek Hill only needs that to happen once to hit at plus 140.
Yep, that would be the other thing I would consider. Let me just see what the long reception is, because if you're going to try to bracket someone who can just keep running, he'll just keep going, you could try to bracket him, but he's just going to keep moving forward on you. Then I think where we're at 24.5. Getting a little bit close. I have to look at the explosive play rate and all that kind of stuff. But either way, I think we got a good amount of plays in here.
It's pretty explosive with Tyreek Hill. I don't think I need to see a rate to know.
No, I need to see how often
that dude can go. That guy's fast.
Just watch a video of Tyreek Hill running fast, and that'll
one time, and you'd be like, "Oh, okay, I get it."
Oh, he is explosive.
Football doesn't have to be that hard. Sometimes you just have really fast man catch ball run.
I know. I do love that about this sport. So that's all the time we're going to take here for the tutties. We're going to get into the play of props for y'all as well. So make sure you do check that out here in just a minute, where we are now roughly I think we're about 11-1 in the last 2 weeks of betting player props together, because we had a nice little sweep the week before. So we're going to keep it going. We'll jump into there. Make sure you check that one out. Until we see you next, happy betting.